story comes first, always. Actors second, director third. And that is the kind of fundamental rule for me, which I haven't always adhered to. And when I haven't, I've paid the price. It's important that I kind of fall in love with all the characters, and that I want to express the kind of beauty within them all. And by doing that, the way one crafts the film comes quite naturally, if that makes any sense. I'm not really a kind of theoretical filmmaker. I work very much from the heart. Someone once gave me a really good piece of advice, which was that if there's a script that you feel like you know a secret about, then that's the one you should do. Often I'll read a script and think, this is going to be great. What a wonderful film. I would love to see this film. And I know that I would do a very similar job directing it as 10 other directors. So it's important that I feel like I have a very specific point of view on it, or know a little secret about it. I can't sort of articulate it any better than that. But I also kind of see it in my mind as it happens, you know, as I read it. So the first thing I do is look for that, really. The thing that I find most interesting about films is human interaction. That's why I love drama, you know. It's about how people connect or don't connect, how my perception of a situation might be different from your perception. And so making films is an exercise for me in empathy and understanding people's points of view, something I'm not particularly good at in real life. So it helps making films. Acting is not witchcraft. It's a craft, and it entails an incredible amount of hard work, and so I only want to work with actors who are willing to put in the hard work. You know, I feel like a lot of people, think that acting is some kind of magic, you know. Most of it, 99% of it, is quite practical, quite logical, and one can really talk about, just get to grips with it, you know, talk about rhythm. I think a lot about rhythm and the musicality of a performance. And then there is a 1% magic, but that magic won't come unless all of that hard work has been done beforehand. Tim Bevan, at Working Title, has had an enormous impact. First of all, because he gave me my first film, but also he has an attitude to making films that is very can-do. You know, films don't languish in development for years. You know, you find the right project, you get the right people together, and you put on a show. And that is a very refreshing attitude. You know, you have a script, even if the script is only kind of 80% there. You set a start date to start shooting, maybe in 6 or 9 months, and then you work to get there, rather than saying, well, you know, we need to get the script another 20% before we can set a start date. It's easy for things to kind of just run like that. So just, you know, setting deadlines and working towards them is very useful. My guilty pleasure really is Judd Apatow films. I love Judd Apatow comedies, and so and also I love Blades of Glory and films like that. So those films make me laugh out loud. But I think humour is important in all films. I think humour is a part of life, and if therefore a film doesn't have any humour, then it isn't really true to life. I think it's very dangerous to ever take ourselves too seriously. I don't necessarily feel like I'm any better as a director now than I was when I was making Pride. Yeah, I don't know that I am any better. I don't know that I've got any advice for myself or anyone else, really. One of the things I tried early on in my TV experience was to say thank you before saying anything else. I was very, very nervous when I started out, and my nervousness expressed itself in an attempt to kind of control everything. When people came to me with ideas that were different from my own, alternative ideas, I would not be able to listen to them really because I was scared of losing control. And my sister, who's a very clever woman, said to me, why don't you try saying thank you before thinking about their idea or responding. So I tried that, and it did an amazing thing. It kind of completely dispelled the ego and meant that I was then able to listen to the person's idea or to consider the person's idea and decide whether it made the work better. So, although that sounds like a really stupid piece of advice, if someone comes to you with an idea that's different from yours, say thank you first.